Welcome everybody to this edition of Attention Talk Video. I'm your host, ADHD and Attention Coach Jeff Copper. Today I'm here to talk to you about the essence of planning. We use the word plan or planning as a word, but have you ever really thought about what is involved? It's complicated, really complicated. So a plan is a documentation, the end product of what you're going to do to accomplish something. The planning process is building that plan. Now, what do you have to need to build a plan? Well, first of all, you have to research to identify relevant things that you need for your plan. Then you have to sequence it, filter it in order of importance. Then you have to arrange it and sequence it, and then do that over time. It's kind of like 3- and 4-dimensional when you think about it. Then as you are moving forward, you have to realize is you have updates. New relevant information comes in order to, that's necessary for you to update your plan. So let's understand this in a context that makes some sense. Think of a GPS, right? When you put in the goal, the destination, that's the goal. Then the GPS routes the route to get there. So that's kind of the plan. Understand that when you jump in your car, and you turn your GPS on, there's a map. That's the visual imagery. That's the visual part of working memory. Then the GPS is talking to you while you're driving. That's the nonverbal working memory. In other words, you're visualizing where you're going and the GPS is talking to you. This is kind of how you think inside your head. So imagine that you're going to go somewhere and you take a look at the destination and the route, and you jump in your car and you leave and you're driving down the road, and all of a sudden you look down and the gasoline light is on. Oh, that's new information. I have to reroute myself and go to the gas station before I get back on the way. So you reroute yourself, you get back on the way, you have to recalibrate at that point in time. Then you find there's an accident. Now your GPS has got to recalibrate to get around the accident. And then maybe you realize I got to get something for where I'm going. If you go back and you think about the plan is the GPS analogy where you plug in the destination and route it is relatively simple. Often though, if your goal is to write a book and route that plan, breaking that down into detail, this chapter, what thoughts go where, is complex. And then as you begin to write, new relevant ideas come to your mind, and then you have to make some adjustments. All this you have to visualize, and oh my God, this is getting hard. Why is my point in all this? You really understand the planning process, you can begin to understand how complicated it is and why we need to do it outside of our head, particularly with people with ADHD. Often they keep trying to make plans inside their head, which is really effortful. They want to put the time, the effort into it. That's the dilemma of ADHD, is that you have to stop and get all this stuff down on paper, and then you have to rewrite it for that relevant information. We have a tendency not really to want to do that. So planning or organization is a time-consuming process, and that's why this is such a difficult, so difficult for people with ADHD. But I will tell you this: the one thing that's been consistent in all my coaching years is that people with ADHD are much better at the planning process if they can do it collaboratively with somebody outside of their head, whether they're talking to somebody or diagramming or whiteboarding it. What happens is they're interacting with somebody else outside of their head, and because they're doing that with somebody else, it's keeping them engaged and they're able to focus. Some of you out there call that accountability. I say it's talking out loud to somebody else. In other words, thinking is easier, and you're able to stay on task because thinking is easier. Anyway, just some insights for you to begin to understand the epicenter, what the challenges are with ADHD. And one tried and true thing is the more you can work outside of your head in collaboration with other people, you might find that you get a lot more done. So with that, I hope that's giving you some insights to actually help you begin to think and problem solve. What are your thoughts, comments? Does this make some sense? And have you ever really thought about how complicated planning is and how dynamic it is and how it has to it's changing all the time and how you have to change with it on the fly? If you're new to our channel, please subscribe. We release tips like this each week to try to help get you to think about ADHD and manage it. And for those that incline, we certainly appreciate those who like what we do and want to support. Is all you do, hit the thanks button. You can make a contribution to us. We're grateful for all that. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this edition of Attention Talk Video. Take care.